So now we're going to filter data. Last tutorial I sorted data, so now we're going to filter them, and these buttons right here are called filter buttons, and they're going to help us filter this data from this table. If you don't have those buttons and you're using a table like mine, you can go to the Table Tools Design tab and then click the filter button on or off. But if this was a structured range of data, you could go to the Data tab and then just highlight the field row, like this row, and click the filter button. Okay, so that's how you do that if that was a structured range of data. But if it's a table, you can do that too with a table like you just saw, but the easier way to do that is just click this filter button option. So now we're going to I'm going to show you what that does. So let's say if we want to type out filter out. So filtering data is showing some data but hiding others and focusing on what you really want to show. So we want to show business transactions that were done by an individual, so the individual category here, and so we'll select all, and then so we'll take away all of the other groups except individual. We'll keep that on, so we want to focus on that, and then filter out the rest. So now your table will look like this, and you can see the numbers on the left side are blue, which is kind of indicating that we've hidden some in between to just look at this filter here. So that's how you would filter data in Excel. And then you can also filter multiple columns. So we did one, but you can filter out as many as you like. Okay, so now we're going to add a different filter in, so at the same time as this one. So this individual filter is still there, we see about the blue numbers, and we can add another one in. So we want to show things only less than 200, so I'll say select all. And there's two ways to do this. There is an easier way. The textbook wants to show you one way how to do it. You just click anything below 200 to filter, and we'll stop there because it should be 200 or equal or less than, and then press OK, and now we have our second filter. Now you also could have done that if you went to number filters, which I'm getting ahead of ourselves then a little bit. You could have gone less than and less than 200. This is a number filter, so you could have done that as well. Okay, same thing, would have shown you the same numbers. And then you can also clear the filter. So the filters that we just added, you can also take them away later. So I'm going to say clear filter from amount, and then I'm going to click the filter button and then clear filter from business. So now we're back to where we started. So you can also look at multiple items within the same filter. So if we take away under the business filter the group home transactions and residential care transactions, we're left with individual and restaurant, and press OK, and then we can look at both individual and restaurant as well. So again, we'll do a number filter, so we'll use the amount filter, and we'll go to number filters. So there's a lot of options here. We're just going to use some of the more simple ones, but you can choose like between, if you had like data between certain dates, that would be a really good one for like the sales date, between certain dates like beginning and end and stuff like that. But we're going to go greater than. We're going to look at the filter that we've already chosen in the business one, individuals and restaurants, and then we want transactions that were greater than 400. So we would choose the greater than, which is great because that comes up greater than. And then if you had another one where you said or less than something else, then you could do that here, but we're just going to keep it simple and just type in 400 and then press OK, and then it should be limited to only things greater than 400. Alright, so now you can also sort the amount from your filter button. So you'll see this is the filter button here, and then we can sort from largest to smallest, and we can also make this the primary sort. So once we click this, this will become, so it'll sort first from largest to smallest. See how it doesn't really do that here? And then even though it looks like it's selected, it wasn't. So we're going to click sort largest to smallest, and now it sorts, yeah, that is the primary sort now. So, and then we're going to pretend like all of the work we've done so far never happened. So just like a dream, we're going to take everything back, pretend it never happened. So clear the filters again from amount and the business fields. Alright, so this is one of my favorite parts of filtering data, is including a slicer button, and this will come in handy when you're doing pivot tables as well. But a slicer button is basically like a user-friendly button that'll help you filter out information. It's just basically a filter button for your field categories. So let's get into that. So under Table Tools Design, under that tab, click on that tab, and if you say Insert Slicer, we have to choose a field. You can choose all of them if you want to create different filter slicers, but we're going to just choose the one from Sales ID, and that'll give us all the numbers that we've had under Sales ID. And then we can choose by clicking on which ones to filter out, so these ones aren't chosen yet. We have to choose which numbers we want. But first you can format this slicer because it's got a little bit of extra space. So just like a table, you can format it here, the height and width, and we're going to change the height to 1.9 inches because we don't need that much space. And then we're going to change the width to 1.25. Yeah, because they're small numbers, they don't take up. So you just have this little filter button that is a little bit more user-friendly. And you can also, just like a table, pick the style. So under Slicer Styles here, you see how the Slicer Tools option tab comes up. And let's choose Dark 6. We'll go with our the green style here. We'll just choose a green style. You could go with either one. Let's choose the dark side. Okay, so it kind of matches our table, which kind of looks cool too. And now you can actually choose which ones. So you can use this slicer to filter out information. So if you click number 1, only Sales ID 1 would get chosen. And then you can also, if you want to select multiple things really quickly, you just press Control and then click the other option. So I'm going to hold down Control and click 5. So only Sales ID 1 and 5 are included in this filter. And you can also clear your filters on the slicer button just by clicking the clear filter button or pressing Alt and Z at the same time. And you can also clear your filters on the slicer button just by clicking the clear filter button or pressing Alt and Z at the same time. Okay, so now we're going to add a total row, which is nice with using a table. You can just add a total row and it'll get the numbers for you. So there's our total. If you don't have the exact same total as mine, if you were using this worksheet from the previous tutorial, you might have to remove the duplicate. I was running that issue, so you might have to just go up here and just say remove duplicates, but you should have that number. And then we're also going to add in the count numbers as well here. And I mean, technically you should put count here and total here just to clarify, but the textbook doesn't tell you to do that, so I'm going to leave it. And it should say 104 here, so then we just press Control Home, go back to the top. So we have those totals at the bottom. And then on the Sales ID Slicer, we're going to choose, we're going to filter for 2, and then hold Control, 3, and 4. So Sales ID 2, 3, and 4, and what's nice is the total will actually change with that. Now that we have that total row there, with the filter buttons on the slicer. Alright, so now we're going to do a split screen, and the reason is that we're going to, you can keep an eye on the totals while looking through certain information. So we'll go to the View tab, and then you're going to click Split Screen. So you can just kind of move this. We just want the one split screen, so we just kind of want I just moved the left and the right, the vertical split to the side, because we just want the horizontal one here. So we can scroll down, or pick one of them. You can scroll down to see how this one stays there, which is kind of nice in our data, and then scroll down, make sure that line is right above the total line, and now we can search through all of our data and then see how it affects the total. So if we made a mistake or an error, which we did, so we're going to fix that error, and on purpose we made a mistake. We're going to use the find command again to locate an error that we made, and we can still keep an eye on the total because of the split screen. So I'm going to type in, so with this one, I'm going to say find next. We want the individual one. So the one that says 5473, we're going to change it to 100. Oh, it's supposed to be 154. I like just adding, I don't know, just because the number was not that by that much, press enter. And then you can see the number change down there as well. If it wasn't, I don't know. But yeah, if you had a big sheet of data, you might want to use a split screen at some point if you want to keep an eye on the total. And then you saw the total change there in the lower screen. So now if we want to get rid of that split, we just go to the same steps. We go to View and then click Split, and then it's gone. Now we're also going to hide the total row and clear the filter from the June. There we're going to clear the filter as well. So under Table Tools Design tab, I'm going to take out the total row, and then I'm going to press the Control Home key to get back to the start. And then I can clear the filter button. Oh, sorry. On the slicer. Sorry. Take away those filters on the slicer. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is use subtotals. So to use subtotals, there's two things you have to do. You have to sort your information, and you also have to take away a table. So you can't use a table when you're doing subtotals. So we're going to have to convert this back to a range. So the first thing we're going to do, the first thing I said, sort at first. So under the sales date, we'll sort from oldest to newest. I already had that there, actually. That's funny. So oldest to newest, and then you also, so you can't do subtotals with a table, so you have to convert it back to a range, and then it'll say, "Are you sure?" And we say yes, and then our slicer is gone, and our filter buttons are gone as well. Now we can go to the Data tab, and inside of the outline group, click Subtotal. So this subtotal dialog box will pop up, and so this just makes sure that we have everything we want, and every change in sales date, which is what we want. So you see how these change between 5 and 6, row 5 and 6 here. That's a change, so we'll have an amount shown there, and we want the sum of the amount. So we want the sum of the amount for that day, and make sure that it says summary below data, and it'll put it in the amount column just under the amount for each day, and that's what we want. So that's exactly what happens. So we have the first day total, the second day, or the June 1st totals, and then so on. And there are 3 levels to subtotals as well. So we are on, so if we scroll down, and there's also like a grand total at the end, which is nice. So we can see the totals here, the grand total, and then also the total for the day as well, just like the other days. We have levels 2. Level 2 will only show you the totals for the subtotals for the days. Level 3 is what we had before, so level 3 shows you everything. Level 2 only shows you the subtotals and the grand total, and level 1 will only show you the grand total. So when you're doing subtotals, they each have different levels. So level 1, only the grand total. Level 2, the totals and the grand total, and level 3 is everything. And if you want to show more detail on level 2, like if you want a little bit of information with those subtotals, you can click on the plus or symbol or the show detail button, and then it'll show you detail. But you can, if you want to hone in on a specific day, you can do that too. A little bit like filtering as well, and then take it back. And just like a lot of activities in this tutorial, we're going to pretend like it all didn't happen by taking the subtotals back. So if you want to go back to where we were from before, you could go to, or get rid of the subtotals, click on subtotals in the Data tab, and then say remove all. And then we have our table back, and then we have to give this table a name again. Oh, sorry, this is still just a structured range. So we have to get that table back to set up for our next tutorial, which will cover pivot tables, and you need to go from a table to a pivot table. So that's pretty much it, just turning this back to a table again, just so we can get it ready for the next one, and then calling this one June table. And that's it for tutorial 5.2. Thanks for watching.